progress, does it have to be big to matter? We wait for motivation, energy, or the right time. Then we go all in and then burn out. And the truth? Maybe daily habits will take you further than big occasional efforts ever will. Hi, I'm Scarlett Classic, and welcome to Classic Advice, a mental health podcast offering guidance for resilient souls anchoring calm amid the chaos. Big effort feels powerful, but consistency is what actually changes your life. Recently, there was I don't know a lot of big details on it, but I think it's called Artemis 2. A rocket with some astronauts was sent up into space, and they did a couple tours around Earth and then slingshotted to the moon. They're doing a couple of rounds over there. I don't think they're landing, and then they're slingshotting back. And my one coworker is just all excited about it. And it makes me think about that quote off the top of my head. One small step for man, but one large leap or big leap for mankind. When I think Armstrong said it when he first stepped onto the moon. But that first step was very, very, very small. But if you unpack all the steps that it took to get to the moon, or for that rocket that just launched that has the astronauts up in space, to get to that point of liftoff, how many steps prior to that needed to happen in order for that liftoff moment to occur? Because the liftoff moment, or the step onto the moon, are the big, big moments. But prior to those moments, there's a series of little steps. And I think sometimes when we get excited about a dream or a new hobby or a new goal, we go really, really hard. And then what inevitably happens is we burn out unless we're very, very intentional with our self-care and rest. I can't remember what book it was that I was just listening to, but it was talking about how stress and rest really coincide with each other. And if they're not working at optimal levels together, then too much rest is you're never getting anything done, and too much stress, too much go hard really fast eventually leads to burnout. That's why so many times on here I have said small steps still matter, because they really, really do. Small little improvements every day. When I was really, really depressed back in the day, it was small steps that eventually got me better. One choice, one decision, one therapy session, at a time, working through everything. Small steps, learning how to handle my anxiety, learning how to handle my panic attacks in healthy ways. They sometimes felt like very big steps, because when you're in the moment and there are big, big emotions that are happening, but it's all the little steps that lead up to that transformative moment when you realize that you haven't had a panic attack in ages. When you realize that, when was the last time I had one? And you remember it, and it was a very long time ago. But it's the small steps along the way that got you to that point. The problem with this all or nothing, this go hard or go home attitude, is that you go hard for a few days and crash. And then you feel like you failed because you couldn't keep up at it. You feel like you failed because you burnt out. And you start over again because you want the dream or you want the goal or whatever it is. And the cycle just repeats itself over and over and over again. And you're racking your brain wondering why you can't do it. And it's not you that is broken. It's the system. Your system is broken. How you're going about it is broken. We need to couple rest in with our stress and take sustainable steps over time so that we can manage everything. Tonight, for example, I got off work a little bit early. I'm working out of town, so I got to my hotel room, I ate something, I'm relaxing in my bed, and I decided, you know what? Instead of going straight here, because I have a lot of work to do here, but I was like, no, I'm going to take this extra time to watch an hour of my show. And I don't watch a whole lot of TV. It's not like, not when I'm working out of town. It's more something that me and my husband do together when we're home together. And tonight I felt like I was in the mood that I wanted to have some just low key, just an hour, just to relax and watch my show, because I really realize the impact that rest has on my work, on showing up here. I'm more relaxed. I'm more excited to be here because I've had some time to myself right before this. I've had some me time. I've had that self-care time right before coming on here. And that's that balance. Because when we have that all or nothing and the cycle keeps repeating itself, it's like this guilt trip keeps and frustration and mental exhaustion just slowly chips away at your mental health every single loop of the cycle. And burnout doesn't come from doing too little. It comes from doing way too much, too inconsistently. The power of small steps. Small habits might feel meaningless, might feel pointless, might feel, well, why should I even bother going for a walk if I only have 10 minutes? But that's 10 minutes of walking. Why not? It's better than nothing, right? Small habits, they are much more manageable. You can repeat them. If you have multiple coffee breaks throughout your day, these small steps, they don't overwhelm us, and they don't require, perfect conditions. They just require you to show up, and over time, they compound into real change. I've been doing these exercises on my breaks consistently for months. And just now, I'm starting to see a slight change. But it's been months and months and months of me consistently showing up and doing my little routine on breaks. It takes a long time for small steps to compound, but I haven't exhausted myself doing it. You don't need to do everything all at once. You just need to do something consistently. It's just like reading a book. If you have a book that's 300 pages and you read 10 pages a day, Well, guess what? You're going to be done in, 30 days? But if you don't read the 10 pages a day, then it's never going to get read if you think you have to read all 300 in one day. Quite often on here, I use the analogy of the hike. When you're walking on a hike and you're focused on what's ahead of you, if you keep looking behind you, you're not going to notice much change. But if you don't let yourself look behind you for a while, after a couple of hours, and then look behind you, then you notice a big change. The height that you climbed is really obvious after a couple of hours. But if you keep looking back every 5 minutes, you're not going to notice a whole lot because it's going to be so gradual. Just like this exercise routine that I'm doing on my breaks at lunch. Of course, I'm not going to notice a big, huge change immediately. But the change that does happen is going to last. Because I've got healthier, lost weight, gained the muscle in a healthy way instead of, I don't know, doing it in an unhealthy way, I guess. And it might feel like you're standing still. A lot of the times when I'm doing my exercises on breaks, it's like, why am I even doing this? Like, is this even doing anything? But I keep telling myself, well, eventually, if I keep pushing my muscles to the point of exhaustion, over time they will get stronger. That's facts. If you couple it with rest too, so that your muscles can get stronger. I just have to be patient, and we have to be patient that our small steps will compound down the road, And we're always further than we were yesterday, day by day. Reframing it, and instead of, I didn't do enough today, to I showed up today. I still did the thing today. I still did my exercises today. Instead of chasing big, big wins, focus on small, repeatable actions. And this all builds confidence and momentum and self-trust and that feel good, I'm proud of me feeling, because we're showing up for ourselves and you're keeping the promises that you want to keep to yourself, that you've made to yourself. I told myself that I was going to do this exercise on breaks, and I'm doing it. And then when I get tired and sore, then I take a couple rest days. And I don't do it for a couple of days. I just walk instead. Why does this protect your mental health? Well, if we can prevent burnout, we can lower that pressure and not get overwhelmed and create that stability and that sustainability. I think sometimes we feel like unless we do a lot, that it's not enough. And sometimes too, that can be coupled with time. Because if you have that idea that, well, if I only go really, really hard, then that normally takes time. Well, I'm only going to go to the gym if I have an hour to work out, because going for 10 minutes isn't worth it. Well, if you only have 10 minutes instead of driving to the gym, why don't you just go for a walk where you are? Walk for 5 minutes, and when 5 minutes hits, turn around and walk back. There's your 10. But I hope this lands. But I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say is if that go hard attitude typically comes with a big time commitment that sometimes in our busy lives that we all have, then we can't find the time for it because other things come up, other priorities. And then, oh, look at that. I don't have my hour to go to the gym. So I'm not going to do it. And then that just, or you burn out in some other way. So it's kind of like running in the sense of learning how to pace yourself. When we pace ourselves, we can create that one small habit that we narrow in on. For me, it's 10 o'clock breaks. That's my time to get out of my truck and do my workout. Now when 10 o'clock breaks hits, it's an automatic, I get out of my truck and go do my thing. Whether it's a break day or not, if it's a break day, I just walk normal. But it's so easy that I can't skip it. And it feels good to get out of my truck anyway. So there you go. Giving ourselves permission to move slow. Just like that tortoise and the hare story from when we were kids, when the hare challenges the tortoise to a race or something, and they race, and the hare runs really, really fast, but then gets tired and stops to rest because it thinks it has all this time because the tortoise is so slow. But the tortoise, just moving at its slow, steady pace, passes the hare on his nap and wins the race. Slow and steady. He didn't burn out. He didn't crash. He didn't need a nap. So giving ourselves permission to move slowly and take the small steps, knowing that they will compound eventually. So remember that you are moving, and every step that you're taking to improve your mental health, this being one of them, slowing down, taking one step at a time so that we don't move up, so that we don't burn out. Even if it feels slow or small, that every step counts. Every effort matters. And every day that you show up, you're building something. Slow progress is still progress, and it's definitely the kind that lasts. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Advice, guidance for resilient souls. May you stay anchored in what steadies you, rise resilient through what challenges you, and carry calm into whatever comes next. Take care. Love ya. Bye.